Hey guys, it's me again, Vivian Wolf, and this is another Jedi Yoga live yoga class, and this is the fifth one in this series that we're doing for Jedi Yoga. And today it's a restorative practice, or a mix between restorative and yin yoga. We're going to focus on the third line of the Jedi Code. There is no passion, there is serenity. And so with that in mind, let's go ahead and get everything together that we need for this particular sequence. You might want a folded up towel or a blanket, a yoga blanket. You might enjoy having some blocks if you have blocks like these, or you can use books that are wrapped in towels maybe, or you can use lunch boxes if you have like an old tin lunchbox, Tupperware, little decorative boxes, you know, whatever works for you. I'm going to use these. And let's go ahead and get started nice and easy. So this third line of Jedi Code call that says, there is no passion, there is serenity. There's always a lot of debate I see in like the Jedi chat rooms about what they mean by this. And this is the one that they use to quote that means that no Jedi should ever fall in love, that no Jedi should ever have children. And if you look at what they mean by passion, they mean intense feelings such as fear and anger and hate. And I do believe that an outdated idea of love can fall under this idea of passion. The very strong desire to possess someone or something is a passion. But I think compassion, I think that true love, compassion for fellow creatures, fellow human beings, fellow just beings in general, is something that should be lauded and celebrated as opposed to ignored. So anyway, we can talk all day about that, but instead let's go ahead and just get on that. So for this particular yoga sequence, we're going to focus on the idea of releasing anger and fear and hate. So there is no passion, there is serenity. So we're going to start in a nice easy shut-up position. And as always, I'm going to use both yoga names, yoga terms from Terra, the planet that we are currently on. And also, I'm going to use the Republic or the Imperial names, just so that we have a little bit of consistency. So bringing the feet together, the soles of the feet together, and letting the knees open wide, allowing a little space between your torso, your pelvis, and the feet. They don't have to be as close to your body as you want them to, as you can get them. You can have a little bit of space. And if, like me, you have a little trouble with alignment of the pelvis, then you can sit on the very edge of your folded towel, folded blanket, whatever works for you. And just bring it up nice and easy here. Let the shoulders, maybe rotate them around, but let them gently fall down and back behind you. Take a deep breath into the nose. Let it go to the side. Good. And if it feels good, start to lean your heart forward, hinging at the hips. We don't need to round out so much. We can just let it come forward. Maybe your hands come forward too. There's a lot of options here. You can just stay here, or if you happen to be quite flexible, you can just use a block or something to rest your forehead on, if you're able to stretch that far. Otherwise, you can just use your hands to hold you up. Let your head be a little longer in the back of the neck. If it feels good, you can bow your head. Just take a few breaths here. In restorative yoga and in yin yoga, We hold the poses for much longer than we would in, say, vinyasa or ashtanga style. So when we do these types of sequences, they're going to be a little slower. We're going to sit in the poses a little longer, breathing and releasing. You want the sensation of opening to be about a 4 out of 10 in intensity. You don't want it to be too intense where you start to either fade out, where your brain is trying to compensate for the pain that is coming by dragging you away into La La Land. You also want to be mindful of your breath. If your breath is difficult, then maybe ease out of the pose just a little bit, and then find a comfortable place where you can feel that opening without the intensity. Just a breath or two more here. And maybe if you feel a release and can go a little deeper, that's okay. There is no passion. There is serenity. Kind of holds true that the idea that if you hold on to these particular feelings, they start to rob you of your peace of mind. They rob you of your serenity. Anger and fear are legitimate reactions to unjust situations. And so it's unfair to say that you shouldn't feel them at all, but you can't let them take over. You can't become obsessed. Or else it will rob you of your serenity, your connection with yourself, that feeling of coming home that each breath should give you. Gently coming back up, nice and easy. Good. From here, we're going to bring the right foot forward, flexing the toes back. The left foot comes up to rest against the thigh, the knee rests open. We're trying to center the foot on our mat, center the foot on our shoulders. So there is a tendency to align the foot with the side of our body. This time we're going to turn towards the foot instead, flexing the toes back. And I'm sorry, we're going to take this foot over. I know my own sequence, I know what's happening here. And we're going to stack the left knee on top of the right knee, taking it just a little bit deeper here. And then this might be pretty intense. You might want to put another blanket underneath your left hip to help support you here. And get your knees as close to stacked on top of each other as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. But you do want to feel that opening in the hip and the back of the right leg. From here, we're going to start to send the heart towards the toes and send the toes towards the heart. It's a pretty intense pose, so you may not go very far, and that's totally okay. You don't want to make this the most intense thing that you can do. In yoga, as well as in the Jedi practice, there is no phrase for no pain, no gain. That is not a concept that we use here. So listen to your body, honor it by listening and becoming aware of where that line of intensity is for you, where too intense is on one side of the line and nothing at all, no feeling at all is on the other side. We want to come right up to that line where we feel that opening of the body, but we don't go past that. There is no passion, there is serenity. Again, I feel like it's important to mention that even in the Jedi Order, there was never any any dictate that said that you could never feel hate or anger or fear, it's when those emotions take over, they take control, where you lose control of your ability to make choices because of the emotions that you feel. That is when you have crossed into the danger zone, and you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah, I said it, I know. Anyway, breathing deep here. It's the same with yoga. In yoga, we talk a lot about just becoming aware of our emotions, not necessarily denying them or trying to get rid of them as fast as possible. We want to feel them fully, but allow them to move on when the time is right. We can't just hang on to a grudge. Can't stay angry at who won American Idol or how bad the last season of Game of Thrones was. You can't hold on to that. You have to let it go and move on with your life and find new joy and new serenity in new places. Just another breath here. And then gently coming up out of this pose. We're going to unravel nice and slowly here, sliding that left foot out. If it feels good, you can shake your knees a little bit here. And then we're going to bring the right foot in, let the knee open wide, and then we take the foot across the leg, stacking knee on top of knee. This time it's the right knee over the left knee, centering the left foot on the mat and between our shoulders here. So we're not off center forward. Everything is in alignment here. And then from here again, just starting to feel things out in your hips. If you need to, shift things around. Get something up underneath there if you need to. And then start to send the heart forward, taking easy breaths. There is no passion. There is serenity. And if anybody is watching this who knows me well and knows my affinity for all things Jedi, you'll know that I consider myself to be more of a gray Jedi. I feel like the dogma of the Jedi Order, particularly in the prequels, became incredibly stringent and I don't know the most succinct way to say this, but they lost track of what they were doing and got a little bit hung up in the whole idea, the power play, the power play of the Jedi Council, the power play of master and apprentice, this whole thing of it's better to obey than to question. It's a lot of things that you see time and time again. They never say don't question us, but they basically dismiss anyone who goes off of whatever the Jedi Council, away from whatever the Jedi Council says is appropriate. I think that there are certain things that you shouldn't do. I mean, I definitely feel like a moral code is important, but I feel like it's more important to find it for yourself than to have it shoved down your throat with no explanation and no excuse. There's no room for error. The Jedi Code itself, and even the way that Yoda speaks about the dark side, he himself uses absolutes to almost scare Luke and the Padawans from even Anakin into doing what he thought was correct. I'm not saying that he was mean or he was violent or anything like that, but I think that he got so wrapped up in what he thought was right that he started to instill fear to keep people in what he felt like was the light. I may have lost a bunch of friends now just by saying that, but that's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like fear and hate are things that you feel naturally, that they are warning signs that things are wrong, that there are injustices that are being done, and so you shouldn't shy away from them, you should feel them, but you can't let them rule you like the Sith do. You can't use those feelings to further your own power. That they give us the indications that we need to make adjustments in our life so that we can live more fully and more closely with the universe, with the Force, with ourselves. Go ahead and come on back up. Nice and easy here. Good. From here we're going to unravel again. Shaking out the legs if you feel like you need to. From here we're going to go a little wide-legged. So both legs come out nice and wide. This is known by Terrans as dragonfly. But in the Republic we know it as Genossians. So again, nice and easy here. You don't want this to be the widest stance that you've ever done. You don't want to max out before you've even had a chance to get into this pose. You want to keep it nice and easy. So bring the feet just a little bit closer together if you need to, especially so that you can sit up upright. If you find that your pelvis is tilting under, just so that you can make this happen, then bring your feet closer together and try to come up on top of your sits bones. Maybe again using something to prop you up a little bit to make that a little easier for you. And then from here, if it feels comfortable, you can start to walk your hands forward, walk your heart forward. And for many people, this isn't going to go very far. And for other people, they're going to be able to put their chest on the ground and like put an ear down. And everyone is in between. So don't even worry about whether or not you're doing it right. If you feel an opening in your hips, you can still breathe, then you are in the right place. Blocks come in handy here because it might feel more comfortable instead of planting on your weight in your hands to bring the blocks in and rest your forearms on them. You can do this at just about any level you want. There is no passion. There is serenity. I want to talk about the other side of that serenity. I think people have a distorted idea of what serenity means also. I think that there is this idea that serenity is sitting on the side of a mountain, sipping tea and smiling at nothing. And I think that that's a nice visual representation of what serenity is, but I don't think that that's the whole of it. I think that serenity is not just contentment, but also joy of life. I feel like Serenity is really good movie, but finding those moments in each and every day where you're not only content, but you're also joyful, happy, that you can create these moments for yourself and find serenity. Serenity, I feel like, is your connection with the Force, your connection with the universe, and just being. Period. Stop. In yoga, we don't use the term serenity. We have different terms, one for contentment and one for self-study and another one for connection with the universe, or devotion to the universe. It's not religious though, it's finding your own connection in a spiritual way with the world around you, with your reality, with the things that you can perceive and the things that you know deep down inside you, but maybe can't prove all the time. So everybody is different in that. So there's a term for contentment, and then once you get into contentment, then you start to move into self-awareness, self-study, always looking within yourself, seeing what is churning and swirling, and seeing how you can settle that down, and then moving from that into your connection with everything else. Just another breath here. Gently coming back up, taking these transitions slowly. The transitions are just as important as the poses themselves are. You don't want to jerk in and out, snap in and out of these poses. Now honor your body and the work that it's doing here, because it may feel like nothing really is happening, but a lot is actually. So we're just going to do a few more here. We're going to start to transition into a tabletop pose. So taking your time to get there, finding your own way. Everyone's going to get there just a little bit differently. And bringing the knees wide, finding the side edges of your mat, and bringing the toes together. This is a variation of childling or, youngling or child's pose. Taking the knees wide. Technically, on Terra, it's called tadpole, but we're going to call it wide-legged child's pose because that's also common. So we can take it to wide-legged youngling pose. I'm going to take one of our supports. You can either take your towel or your blanket, or you can use one of your blocks, whatever fits better for you, to allow your forehead to rest. Coming on down, stretching the arms out nice and long. Also, it helps me to speak to you if I have a little space between my head, my face, and the mat. So I'm going to turn to the side just a little bit. You can turn to the side too if it feels comfortable for you, but be sure after a few breaths to switch to the other side. Also, since I'm wearing my glasses today, I need a little space for my glasses. Stretching the arms out nice and long, just letting yourself sink down. Some options here if you're having a little trouble with this pose. Maybe it's your ankles that are giving you a little trouble. You can take a towel or a blanket and roll it and then stick it underneath your ankles so that you have a little more support. So the tops of your feet don't have to go down as far. And come here. Another option is to take a block or something and put it underneath your hips so you don't have to come all the way down onto your feet, if that makes sense, so that you're not pressing your hips into your ankles. So there's always a way to find this pose. You'll get all the same benefits, just in a way that works for you. No matter what situation you are in, there's always a way. There is no passion, there is serenity. So how do we know when we have serenity? How do we know when we are sitting in our serenity? I think that's kind of tricky. Again, I think there's something about awareness that needs to be developed. Just so you know that you don't have to look back and go, oh, that moment last week, I was happy then. I think being able to sit still for a moment at your desk or on your couch or on your yoga mat, and just taking a breath and realizing that you cherish that breath. that breath in just smells better. And that exhale just is so relaxing and releasing. And not really wanting anything else in that moment. In that moment, you don't have to think about the homework you have to do, or the project at work, or the next game that you're going to play, or any of that stuff. You can just listen to your breath. And that is enough. I think that's what serenity is. I think that serenity is something that you feel after you've done a kick-ass panel at a convention and you go back to your room and you just take off your shoes for a moment and it's so quiet and all you do is just breathe and feel the adrenaline of all the people cheering at the end of your panel. I think that moment, that is serenity. Good. From here, we're going to come back up into our tabletop here. Bring our knees back underneath our hips. From here, we're going to shift our weight over to the left side, placing our weight kind of halfway between our left knee and our left hand, so we can lift our right foot and reach it forward. Now, for some people, this is going to be really, really simple, and for some people, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to turn around so you can see that action again. So shifting the weight over to the left, lifting up the right leg and bringing it forward. Again, for some people that it doesn't turn out that way. So shift your weight as much as you need to, and if you find that you can only get about this far, that's okay. Use your right hand to help you. Lift that foot up and bring it forward. And maybe you have to do it a couple of times. Maybe you have to just bring it a few times to bring it forward. But we want to make sure that our knee is behind our ankle, not the other way around, because we're going to shift the hips forward to go a little deeper into our hips here. And if you're already back here, you're risking injury. So we want to keep this nice and safe. So bringing the foot forward so that we can shift the hips forward. And again, if you want, using blocks here to give yourself some room to breathe might feel really good, especially if your hips are really tight and you're kind of back a little bit. And so this might be what your what this looks like for you. It might be all the way down. For some people, this is not a hard pose at all, and so they can go really, really low. Some people are going to be in between. That's totally okay. We're just going to breathe here for a couple of breaths. It's a little more intense of a pose. I might feel they could shift a little side to side. Good, and then we lift the hips back up. Shift the leg all the way back. Again, might take a couple of tries. It's totally okay. I'm going to go to the other side just so you can see the other side. We're going to shift our weight into the right hand, the right foot, the right knee, and flick that foot forward, using your hands to help if you need to. Getting your other hand out of the way if you need to. That's why we're shifting our weight over to the side, so you can get your hand out of the way if you need to. And gently starting to come into this pose on the other side. Ooh, my hips are tight. There is no passion, there is serenity. So letting go, you're starting to notice things are starting to come up for you. Whenever I say the words anger, fear, frustration, grudge, something in particular, a situation or a person is coming up for you, then just let those feelings come. Let it happen. It's okay. Observe them. See if you still actually feel that way, if you're just holding on to that feeling. Maybe it's time to take some sort of action, some sort of right action, correct action, not just any action. Write a letter, say goodbye to that person or to that situation. Gently sliding your foot back, coming into tabletop pose. From here, we're going to lay down on our bellies. Be nice and comfortable here. And bring our elbows directly underneath our shoulders, hands directly in front of your elbows. So everything's at right angles. We want to press down into our forearms. Our index fingers are about shoulder width apart here. And pressing our forearms to help lift our ears away from our shoulders. And then we're going to make this pressing down motion almost like we're trying to pull ourselves off of our mat. Or like we're trying to rip our mat or something like that. But if we're doing both of them, it's just going to open the heart towards the front of your mat. Keeping the back of the neck long, we're not aiming to look at the ceiling or anything. No clenching or scrunching up the back of the neck here. You want to keep everything nice and long. Pressing in the tops of the feet. This one is foggier, or we call it, here on Terra, we call it Sphinx pose. There is no passion. There is serenity. One more big breath in here. And we gently melt it all down. We're going to come into our last pose. It's Shavasana, but we're going to do it face down instead of face up. I'm going to take my glasses off here. You can overlap your hands in front of you, palms down, and let your forehead rest on the back of your hands. And if you like, you've got this blanket. If you've got a blanket or a towel, you can drape them over. Or you can even create a space again for your forehead and just let your arms rest above it here. Close your eyes. Allow the line of Jedi Code to become a mantra for you as you breathe in. Just imagine that your brain is saying there is no passion, and as you breathe out, there is serenity. Just over and over again. Allowing yourself to sink down, down into the force. Body is still. The mind is quiet. Each breath is more relaxed than the one before it.
As you start to come back, allow some movement to come to your fingers and maybe your toes. Maybe windshield wipering your heels side to side if that feels good. Starting to wake things up just a little bit. Maybe allowing yourself a full body stretch. Good. We're going to slide our right arm underneath our left arm so we can roll over onto our right side, pulling the knees into the chest, giving them a little hug here if that feels good. Coming into fetal position. You can use your blanket to rest your head on if that feels nice. And then gently starting to make your way back up to a seated position here. All right. Let's go ahead and end this sequence by inhaling, reaching the hands up overhead, taking up a lot of space. Exhale, bring your hands together over your heart. Take a deep breath into the nose. Let it go to the side. Thank you so much for watching this live video class. And until next time, may the force be with you.